France says it's lifting its blanket cross-channel travel ban from midnight local time. French nationals and European citizens will be allowed entry with an up-to-date coronavirus test. The new rules will also cover lorry drivers. Nearly 3,000 lorries are still stuck in Kent, waiting to cross the channel. France has confirmed it'll open up traffic from England tonight, provided drivers produce a recent negative coronavirus test certificate. EU diplomats say progress has been made in post-Brexit trade talks, but differences on fisheries remain. Britain's transition period ends in just over a week from now, but Europe says it's prepared to negotiate beyond December the 31st. America's top medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has been given the coronavirus vaccine live on television. He said that he wanted to encourage Americans to get their jabs when the time comes as well.
European Union and Britain push toward a deal for Britain's withdrawal from the EU to avoid trade problems in January. Microsoft says attackers have placed harmful software in the company's systems. It says the attack is connected to a huge hacking campaign that targeted many U.S. government agencies. Protesters march in Jakarta to demand the release of a clergyman jailed on charges connected to public health rules. And the state of New York declares emergency measures after about 3 meters of snow fell across 18 counties.
We begin with a political scandal involving Japan's former prime minister. Sources say Tokyo prosecutors questioned Abe Shinzo on a voluntary basis on Monday over alleged political funding violations. They say Abe denied any involvement. One of Abe's secretaries is said to be under investigation. The man is also head of Abe's support group. He's suspected of violating the political funds control law by failing to report revenue and spending related to parties for Abe's supporters at Tokyo hotels. The parties took place on the eve of government-funded cherry blossom viewing events while Abe was in office. About $200,000 was spent on the parties in the 5 years through 2019. Abe's side is thought to have paid at least a third of that. Then Prime Minister Abe repeatedly told the Diet that all expenses were covered by the participants. Sources in Abe's inner circle said his staff put the former Prime Minister in a position of stating something contrary to the facts. Prosecutors are believed to have asked Abe whether he knew about the reports and other details. They're expected to bring a summary indictment against the secretary by around the end of the year. Opposition lawmakers are demanding Abe take responsibility.
He should rapidly address the Diet and explain to the people, not make excuses such as, "I didn't know because my secretary lied to me." He made false statements in the Diet, so naturally he should explain himself in the Diet.
The former Prime Minister suggested on Friday that he would personally provide an explanation to the Diet after investigators have reached a conclusion. In Japan, the spread of the virus is showing no signs of letting up. On Tuesday, the total COVID-19 death toll in the country topped 3,000. A record high 620 people are in serious condition. The Tokyo metropolitan government reported 563 new cases in the Japanese capital on Tuesday. The Tokyo Medical Association held an emergency news conference. Officials expressed a strong sense of crisis.
I think the next 3 weeks will be our last chance. Cluster infections can hardly be traced anymore. Infections are already widespread in the city. The medical system is really on the brink of failing.
Doctors urged Tokyo residents to make efforts to reduce infections. The official also called on the central government and the Tokyo metropolitan government to seriously consider practical policies and appeal to citizens. Meanwhile, an expert panel advising Japan's health ministry says the spread of the coronavirus continues nationwide. The experts are also calling for caution about the risk of importing a new coronavirus variant that's now spreading in Britain. So far, Japan has not confirmed any cases of the variant. Researchers have pointed out the new variant is more easily transmitted, but there's no evidence so far that it's more likely to cause more serious illness. Japan's labor ministry says nearly 80,000 people across the country lost their jobs or have been given notice because of the coronavirus pandemic. The ministry has been checking cases of workers who've been laid off or not had their contracts renewed because of deteriorating business performance. Officials believe the actual figure is probably higher because they only counted cases known to regional labor bureaus and public job placement centers. Data as of last Friday show that the manufacturing sector was the hardest hit, accounting for 20% of job losses. It was followed by pubs and restaurants, the retail sector, hotel employees, and temp agency workers. The highest proportion of redundancies is in urban areas led by Tokyo and Osaka. More than 37,000 out of the total were part-time or contract workers who lost their jobs or were given notice between May 25th and last Friday alone. Ministry officials are urging businesses to keep employees on their payroll through the use of government subsidy programs. They're also providing support to help the unemployed find new jobs. World Health Organization officials say they'll add the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to its emergency use list as soon as the end of the year. WHO Assistant Director General Mariangela Simaong said at a briefing in Geneva that the vaccine would also be distributed under its COVAX program, a global framework to provide vaccines to poor and middle-income countries. South Korea says it'll close ski resorts and other tourist attractions during the upcoming holidays as it grapples with a surge in coronavirus cases.
Special measures will be in place from Thursday through January 3rd to block the spread of the virus.
The Prime Minister said 179 ski resorts, skating venues, and other facilities will shut, including national parks and popular locations from which to view the first sunrise of the year. He also announced a nationwide ban from Thursday on private gatherings of 5 or more people. The move extends measures set to take effect from Wednesday in Seoul and areas surrounding the capital. The daily number of new infections in South Korea has rebounded from fewer than 100 cases early last month to a record high of 1,097 last Saturday. The country has recently reported cluster infections at places including nursing care homes and railway stations. A prison in Seoul reported nearly 200 infections among inmates and staff. Former President Lee Myung-bak is now serving a sentence at the prison after he was convicted of corruption. U.S. President Donald Trump's nomination for Washington's next ambassador to Japan is likely to be scrapped now that the current session of Congress is all but over. Trump nominated Kenneth Weinstein in March this year. Weinstein is president and CEO of the conservative Hudson Institute think tank. His appointment needed confirmation by the full Senate, but that had still not happened by the time the congressional session effectively ended on Monday. The post of U.S. ambassador to Japan has been vacant since July last year, when William Hagerty resigned to run for a Senate seat. The incoming president, Joe Biden, is expected to name a new nominee, but the post will likely remain unfilled for at least several months while the confirmation process runs its course.